Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. I'm going to just have the little background there, and you can do your thing, young lady.
Okay, everyone, welcome to our Zoom. We're glad you're here. Just want to welcome everyone individually. Joseph, Kent, welcome Kent, Linda, Lindsay, LK, Michael, Rosemary, Yusuf. Welcome. There's more of you, but let me refresh. Albert, welcome. Andrew, hey Betty, Bob, Chris, Curtis, Gary, James, Jeffrey. Is that you, John? And I think I already welcomed Joseph. So this is a whole new way of doing the Zooms. It's a little different because you guys can't leave comments, but it should make it a lot,
They
you know.
can though. They should have a Q&A. So
Okay.
that'll kind of serve as what was the chat before, but that'll keep things private so that we can have a nice, crisp, and clear Zoom.
Okay. Okay. So, oh, hey, Lindsay. Thank you we got your message. Okay.
Mari, you want to share the quick news about John this evening?
Yes, so John is having internet issues over on the Philippines, but he said he was going to try to join through his phone. He might actually be on, but he can't really, it's real spotty, so he can't actually speak tonight, unfortunately. Uh, so, um, but the professor's going to handle it. Um, the Zoom is going to be a little shorter. We're trying to condense it because I know people are, lead busy lives. So he's going to do the talk about the faith principles, the um, and then after that, we're going to go into the wealth, generational wealth model. So it should be about 15-20 minutes each segment. And then on Thursday, it's going to be focused a deep dive into just the generational wealth model. So for those of you, because I know there's some people who, they don't really want to hear about the faith. That's just not where they're at right now. And they just want to hear about the generational wealth model. So Thursday would be a good day to invite those people. But also it's a good time for everyone because it's going to be a deeper dive. It's going to be the whole time will be spent discussing that. Versus today, we're going to split it talking about both segments, half and half. And then on Sunday, it's going to be just focused on faith and all the the principles, the 4 pillars of faith. So new people joining, welcome. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes. Christina, welcome. Doris, welcome. Melissa, welcome. Michael, welcome.
Is my Okay, there we go. Is my screen not sharing?
Yeah, we could see the 4 pillars.
Okay, okay, all right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, I think I'm showing it a little different on my other computer. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right, all right. We are at the top of the hour. So, Mari, we are ready to get started. Thank you so much for taking those introductions. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, so if you see me looking over here, okay, it's only because I'm looking at my other computer. We are getting used to the new Zoom format so that we can have nice, crisp, and clean Zooms. Want to welcome each and every one of you, as Mari has already done so. Give me a moment. I'd love to see. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Again, just getting used to this is a different format. Where did my people go? There we are. All right. Now I've got you, Agnes. Can't see your beautiful face, unfortunately, but we can see Agnes and Albert and Gary and Jan and Jeffrey. Good to have each and every one of you, Lindsay and Melissa. Rosemary. All right, let's go on and get things started. So, if you are new to us, welcome, 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 all of you beautiful people, whether you are returning or if you are new to us. We're going to talk about Billion Dollar Mind. What is Billion Dollar Mind? What is BDM? It is a very innovative platform where we share universal laws. Universal laws are eternal truths. They were here before we got here, going to be here long after we're gone. So we're going to share the four key universal laws, the four key pillars of faith that we share here at Billion Dollar Mind, and then we're going to do a little bit about the financial model. It is a generational wealth model. We'll get into that on this evening. And as Mari has shared with you, going forward, Tuesday nights will be what you're going to see tonight. All right, where we talk about our, I like to call it a UVP, unique value proposition. All right, and that's sharing about the four pillars, and then we'll talk a little about the compensation. We'll begin that conversation tonight. For those of you that are newer to us, we will make sure, hopefully I'll be able to post, I hope I'll be able to post a link for you. Again, getting used to the new platform. So if I can't post that link, we'll make sure that the person that invited you has a link to get to you. So you can do a little deeper dive even before Thursday. Thursday nights, we will focus on the generational wealth model. And then on Sunday nights, we'll do a deeper dive into the four pillars, and that will have a faith-based overtone. Okay. All right. So with that being said, let's go on and get started. Four pillars of um, of faith. Number one is gratitude, 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 or great attitude. We've often heard it said that our attitude determines our altitude. And so we want to get to the point where we are coming from a place of gratitude by default. We don't even have to think about it. Now, right now, we might have to think about it. And gratitude, even when the circumstances aren't what we want them to be. I'm sure for every single one of us, there's some things in our lives that we don't see with our natural eye, with our humanness, we don't see as optimal. Man, if I could change this thing over here, transform that thing over there, and and that one there, I sure would. All right. Now, with that said, though, we want to be in a state of thank you, a state of love, a state of great attitude, gratitude, because gratitude, and I don't fully understand it. All right. It just seems it's a universal law. It attracts all the other good stuff we want. If you're ever dealing with, maybe in a mental funk, maybe something happened. Maybe somebody cut you off in traffic. Maybe somebody tapped on that nerve. Try gratitude. Try just thank you, thank you, thank you. That person who just cut me off, or that person, this one happens, right? Somebody gets in, they turn, here you are driving, they turn and get in front of you, and then they're going really, really slow. And you're like, well, what the heck? No, gratitude. They may have kept you from that police officer up there because you were speeding. It may have slowed you down, kept you from getting a ticket, may have kept you from an accident. A few weeks ago, I am going to pick up my daughter from, there was something that was happening at the school, and I'm going to go pick her up. And wow, that was a big old accident. After we came back, we saw there was an accident. Well, I didn't know just how bad things were. Found out later on. Um, I think it was 3 lives were lost. 3 lives. And I had just been, I was on, maybe missed it by 10 or 15 minutes. Attitude, great attitude. Number two, vision, vision. One of my mentors taught me this, multimillionaire mentor. He said, you can never hit a target that you cannot see. So, um, scripture says that we are to write the vision and make it plain. Write the vision and make it plain. See what vision does when we do write the vision and we make it plain, we make it clear what we desire. I can tell you for most of my life, circumstances, they've been like the waves that have just blown me around. Circumstances, situations. And it was as if I had no say so in the matter. And I was reacting to circumstances versus creating. What vision allows us to do, it becomes the blueprint where we now get to become the creators of our lives. We now get to design the lives that we deserve and that we desire. So if you're looking at certain aspects of our lives, I think we all have 4 major quadrants. Our spiritual quadrant, whatever that is for you, our relationships, those of you in romantic relationships, those of you who are married. I'm looking to get married again at some point. I'm a widower. Man, what an amazing woman. What an amazing woman that I had for 28 years on this side. Whether it's relationships with your children, your parents, your siblings, your friends, business associates. So we've got that relationship quadrant. We've got the quadrant dealing with our health. And what we'll talk a little bit about this evening, the quadrant dealing with our finances. What's your vision? What are you creating? And if we don't have a vision, if we're not writing it down, if we're not making it plain, then it's like we're, a ship without a sail. We're just kind of going where the wind blows us. And if that's been okay for you, if you're cool with that, okay. But I'm no longer cool with that. I'm no longer cool with the winds of life just blowing me to and fro without me providing direction, vision. Write the vision, make it plain. Oh, this one right here, I haven't heard anyone share this the way that I've heard it until Billion Dollar Mind, until John. And now it's like I'm seeing it all over the place. I spend a lot of time at YouTube looking at a lot of personal transformation trainers and mentors. But John is the one that really planted this seed in my heart first. That is taking time every day to really sit in the feelings and the emotions of what it feels like when our vision is accomplished, when we've checked off those things that we have as goals, those things that we have as targets, and we meet those goals. See, it's so important to write the vision, make it plain, then spend time. See, the proverb says, as a man, as a woman thinks in his heart, her heart, our hearts, so are we. There's so much chatter going on up here. As a man, as a woman thinks in their heart. And so what sitting in those emotions, what will it feel like when that relationship that you so want to be restored, what would that feel like to have that relationship humming on all cylinders? What would it feel like to be completely and totally and utterly free of all debt. Let's say that was part of your vision. What would it feel like to be able to help your parents or help your children or your grandchildren and not have to worry about what it's going to do to your wallet or to your purse? What would that feel like? So that what we put on paper, our vision, now we can take those thoughts of the vision and start to move them to our heart space, because we're feeling it. I'm feeling it even now. I'm thinking of some things that's on my vision list as my eyes are closed, as I'm sharing with you. I feel it now. And then number 4, affirmations, affirming, making firm, calling those things that are not as though they were. Napoleon Hill, in his landmark book, Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't gotten it, if you haven't read it, get that book. And so one of the things that he talks about, several of the things that he talks about in that landmark book, is writing out the vision and then repeating your vision aloud daily. I remember I got a little bit of that years and years and years ago. I would go in the bathroom. My wife was still here, and she would hear me. I mean, man, I am bellowing out my vision, and I'm starting to perspire. I'm in front of the mirror, and I am this, and I am that, and I was speaking not as if it was going to happen, but speaking as if it already was. They just didn't share it in the way that John shares it. John just have this way. For those of you who know John and you've heard him share on live on the Zooms or on some of the recordings, that man just have this just calming, relaxing voice. Gosh, love listening to that man. He did a video that I'm sure will be dropping here real soon. When you hear it, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh. So those are the 4 pillars of faith. And what we're doing on Tuesdays, what we're doing on Sunday nights, okay, is we're really breaking that down. Sunday nights, for instance, we'll really be breaking down these 4 pillars of faith so that we can apply them. They're not just theoretical, that we can apply them to our lives to foster lasting, positive transformation. Now, what we know is that a big part of transformation for so many folks, a big part of transformation, most people want some type of financial transformation, whether it's making a few extra hundreds of dollars per month, a few extra thousands of dollars per month, or a complete lifestyle change. So stand alone from the sharing of the 4 pillars. There is a amazing generational wealth model. I'm going to introduce you to it tonight. Okay. There's going to be some additional content. And again, I don't know if I can post it. That's what I was hoping to do, but this is a new format and I don't see if I can. We'll try though. We'll try to post it a little bit later on. So for my new folks, we're going to share enough with you tonight where you should have enough to say, yeah, I want to be a part of that model. Okay. All right. So let's go into that. Give me a moment. Bear with me. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Almost there. Almost there. All righty. All righty. All righty. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to share with you. I want us to have a sense of urgency as we approach um, this model. Okay. Uh, John's having some internet issues over there in the Philippines. He may be on, but I know he can't really interact with us on this evening. John shares that he was first introduced to Bitcoin when Bitcoin was going for a nickel, 5 cents. Okay. And he had a buddy of his that was imploring him, John, just man, buy $1,000 worth. Just buy $1,000 worth. Sit tight. Hold on to it. Don't worry about it going up and going down. Just buy $1,000 worth. Okay. He did not do it. He did not do it. But let me show you that had he done so, what that could have meant. All right. So $1,000 when Bitcoin was going for a nickel, 5 cents, that would have been 20,000 Bitcoin. That would have been 20,000 Bitcoin. Give me a moment. Let's see if I can show that. Oh, I need my calculator there. Bear with me. Now, Bitcoin has gone all the way to over 70,000. I didn't see where it was today. When I pulled this chart, it was at 66,000. Look at what that could have been worth. That could have been worth 1.3 billion. $1.3 billion. John, with $1,000 outlay, could have been a billionaire. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Okay. My own personal story with Bitcoin is I heard about Bitcoin for the first time. I was in an investment conference, my late wife and I, down in Santiago, Chile. And that's the first time we heard about Bitcoin. And we were like, huh? Digital currency? Really? Ah, foo-fooey, right? That was in 2013. 2014, I actually got involved with a home business project that was paying in Bitcoin. So 10 years ago, this month, August of 2014, I bought my first Bitcoin for $515. Now, pundits were saying Bitcoin was a scam sham, flim flam, okay? And they were even saying that the company that I was doing some promotion for was a scam sham, flim flam. And as a result, I stopped promoting it. Bitcoin went down from 500 down to 432, down to $166 is the lowest I remember seeing it. And then it started to come back up. Buddy of mine, who I referred to that particular project, he continued to build his business. I stopped building the business. He was a part of my business, but I stopped building the business. And as a result, I made some Bitcoin, but most of the Bitcoin I made, I needed to convert it to usable, spendable cash, which I did. So I did not accumulate Bitcoin. Well, he did. He accumulated Bitcoin from the company that we were promoting, and he just went for it. Okay. Well, 4 years afterwards, so 2014 is when we started that enterprise, August of 2014, 10 years ago. 4 years after that, maybe 4.5 years, he gets in touch with me and he said, hey, man, I just want to thank you. I said, thank you for what? He said, thank you because of you, I'm a multimillionaire. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? What did I do? He said, you introduced me to, and then he named the company. Okay. So in less than 5 years, he became a multimillionaire because about that time, I want to say Bitcoin was going for $17,000, $18,000 a Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin was lower, when we first got started, he's getting paid in Bitcoin, not having to convert all of it into usable, spendable cash, built up a nice little pot of Bitcoin. And this was it when Bitcoin was at $17,000 or $18,000. Well, Bitcoin's more than triple that now. So I did some figuring as best as I could to determine what I may have left on the table, not as a beat myself up, but just to, hey, next time when I'm presented with an opportunity like that, let me go for it. Okay. And as best as I can figure it out, I probably left somewhere between 10 to 15 million on the table because I was there, but I didn't go for it. And so I wanted to share that because I don't want you to make the same mistake that I made. So one of the things that John did, his daughter has been intimately involved with a project known as Flare. And Flare is a cryptocurrency. It's building out its own blockchain. The whole infrastructure is not completely done yet. And as a result, Flare is fairly inexpensive, less than 2 cents now. Okay. But some pundits are suggesting that Flare will get to 40,000 a Flare. 40,000. Now, listen, I don't know if it will. I have no idea. But I've seen a lot of cryptocurrencies that went from less than a penny to $1, $2, $5, $10. Some of you may know the asset known as Doge. I remember when it was like 0.00000 something. So our generational wealth plan is going to leverage Flare. Now, here is our vision. Remember the 4 pillars? Pillar number 2 is vision. Our vision is we want to help our community members accumulate outside of what you convert into usable, spendable cash. We want to help you to amass 5 to 10 million Flare. Now we want to be very, very aggressive now. Matter of fact, I've been in this space for 30 years, made millions in this space, probably left 10 to 15 million on the table with that company where I did not go for it. Okay. But I don't want to miss out. And I don't know when Flare is going to go from 2 cents to $1 or to $5. And it may not. All right. But they're saying it's going to get to 40,000. Maybe there's a good shot. It could, perhaps. All of my disclaimers get to $3 or $4. So I want to show you what that could look like. And again, I'm setting the table for you tonight, giving you a little bit. Don't want to give you too much at one time, but enough for you to say, okay, let me take a real look at what's going on over here at $1 Billion Mind. Look at this. Give me a moment. So look at this. Let's say in time you got 5 million Flare. Time you got 5 million Flare. And Flare doesn't get to $4,000 of Flare, or 40, excuse me, doesn't get to 40,000. It gets to $1. You get 5 to 10 million Flare accumulated, it goes to $1. That's $5 to 10 million. Flare doesn't get to 40,000, nowhere close. It gets to 4, and you got 5 to 10 million Flare, let's say. I'll just do the 5 at $4. Are we now maybe perhaps starting to talk about generational wealth? So if you want to generate a few extra hundreds of dollars per month, you'll be able to do that. A few extra thousands of dollars per month, you'll be able to do that. But if you want to leave your footprints in the sand of time, follow the proverb that says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. A good woman, children's children. Then let me share one other piece of a little bit about our compensation plan. I'm being very mindful of our time. I want to respect everyone's time. So let me give you a few highlights. Bear with me. Few highlights. There are no monthly subscriptions, so you're not going to have a bill. We have a donation plan, by the way. Okay. And so a donation plan does not have to have a product or service tied to it. Now, one of the things that we're doing is we're bringing value added with our unique value proposition. Okay. The reality is you can come on to all of our live content absolutely free. We're launching a free portal here in just a little bit. That's going to help those of you that particularly want to build your Flare reserves by building the referral network, help you with your promotion of that. Okay. So if people say, well, what's the product? Well, we don't have to have a product because this is a donation plan. We are bringing unique value proposition. So we've got low, medium, high ticket donation packages and payouts. We've got an 80% payout, ladies and gentlemen, going to one person. So what that means is we've got donations that go from as little as $10 all the way up to $20,000. Someone in time, they do a $20,000 donation. One person is getting 16,000. Somebody does a $5,000 donation. One person is getting 4,000. This is why I'm saying if you want to make a few extra hundreds of dollars a month, great. A few extra thousands of dollars per month, fantastic. You can do that. And potentially, maybe perhaps all my disclaimers generate generational wealth. There's no loss payouts. I'm going to cover that. That's going to be the one major thing I'm going to cover tonight because of time. On Thursday, I'll cover it in more detail about no loss referrals, about no manipulation, about unlimited width and unlimited depth. I'll cover that more on Thursday. And if I can post a link, hopefully I'll be able to post a link. I'll give you a link for those of you who say, I don't want to wait to Thursday to find that out. I want to get that now. Okay. All right. So let's go to work. And I want to share this with you. Okay. All right. So for the next few moments, I want you to be thinking no loss payout. So what you see before you are the various donation plans that start at 10, 50, 100, 250, 500, 1,000, 2,500, 5,000, 7,500, 10 grand, 15 grand, and 20 grand. And you'll see the corresponding amounts that are paid out. 80% of each donation plan is paid out. Okay. All right. Now, first thing, where do you want to start? You never want to hurt your family. All right. So raise your right hand and agree you're never going to hurt your family. Okay. So you're not going to borrow money for this kind of stuff or what have you. But you want to understand that we are employing a universal law. We are employing an eternal truth. This donation plan is a law of harvest plan. This donation plan is a sowing reaping plan. And the sowing reaping principle, the law of the harvest principle, goes something like this. We reap what we sow. We have to sow to reap. But when we reap, we will reap so much more than what we sow. So you want to get started at the highest donation amount that makes sense for you and your family. And that's going to vary with everyone, with each person. Some folks are coming from countries where, the incomes are not that much. That's why John put out a $10 plan. But now if you've got resources and it's not going to hurt you and you see it, all right, do you want to start off at $10? Well, you'd be planting a seed for everybody else to start off at $10 or to start out at the lowest. Let me just dip my toe in and see what's going to happen. Versus, let's say you have the resources. Someone asked me, what do you think the sweet spot is? I think this is the sweet spot right here. Now, I'm not saying you have those resources or not. If you don't start there. Start with what makes sense to you. The reason I believe this is the sweet spot is because at Plan 2500, when you have someone connected to you that does Plan 2500, you got an 80% payout. If you had one or two of those a month, that's a nice extra few $1,000s a month. Now, I won't have time to show you the leverage piece tonight. All right. If I can post that link, I'll make sure you have that link and you can watch that, or certainly come back on Thursday and we will be able to share that with you. But let's talk about no loss payouts. We have just a few moments to do this. One of the things in platforms where you've got multiple starting options, usually what happens is if you start at, let's say, 2,500, great start, but you bring on Susan and Susan starts off at 5,000. Okay. Usually what happens with most other plans is you would lose that 4,000 in payout. You'd lose it. And that's demoralizing. So what John did, because he has such an enormous heart, is he said, no, we're not going to play that game. We're going to have no loss payouts, meaning this. Okay. So let's say you come off the street, you do 2,500. All right. Now you come off the street and you do what makes most sense for you and your family. All right. I'm showing 2,500. Okay. Now you didn't do these other plans here. You just said, hey, I've got a budget of 2,500. That's what you started off with. But you brought on Susan, and Susan has a budget of 5,000. So she does the 5,000. In most instances, you would have lost that 4,000 in payout because you weren't qualified. That's not what happens here. What happens here is that 4,000 goes on hold. You do not lose it. We like to call it a bank. Okay. So that 4,000 goes on hold. That's number one. You didn't lose anything. Number two, from the 4,000, the system will automatically upgrade those donation options that you have not yet participated in. So what would happen is from the 4,000, it would cover the $10 upgrade coming out of that 4,000 bank. It would cover the $50, the $100, the $250, the $500, the $1,000, and you'd still have some left over. Let's count it. 10 and 50 is 60, and 100 is 160, and 250 is 410, and 500 is 910, and 1,000 is 1910. So 1910 out of the 4,000 would go to upgrade these positions. That means that somebody, whoever you're connected to in these plans, they're getting donated to. See, if you lost this, all right, if you lost that, it might go up to one person that's above you that had more resources than you, or in many cases, it just goes to the company. It breaks to the company. John said, we're not going to do that. No, what happens is that goes to upgrade your positions you're not already upgraded to. And then whatever is left over, I think that would be 2,090 in this example, that would stay in your bank. So then if you wanted to move up to plan 5,000, you don't have to have 5,000 out of your pocket. It would just be the difference. Now, why was this important? Because while you started off at 2,500, that made the most sense for you. Susan started off at 5,000. That made the most sense for her. We're all wanting to flow in the law of the harvest. Start with as much as your resources allow. Just don't hurt yourself. Okay. But somebody else, maybe from the Philippines, they started off at $10. That's where they were. Well, now you're qualified for this to be withdrawable. See, over here, this 4,000 was not withdrawable because you weren't qualified for it. When you did the 2,500 before these were taken care of, that still would have gone in your bank, but it wouldn't have been withdrawable. But now these are all withdrawable. So if somebody comes aboard with you and they do the 1,000 and they're connected to you, that 800 now is withdrawable. So here's what we want to do, and I'm just about finished. We want to get every single one of you. And I don't care if you've not been successful in marketing before. I don't care. Okay. This is what the principles and the pillars of faith are all about. One, and two, you will not want for great, valuable content to share with other folks to get the messaging out. I'm going to drop one of those tomorrow in our Telegram room. So if I can't post a link tonight, make sure whoever referred you gets you to our Telegram room so you can see that content I'm going to drop on tomorrow. Okay. We want to get you to all the way through the plan so that anytime anyone donates to any of these plans, those funds are withdrawable. Why is that? Let me finish with this. Because right now, Flair's only at 2 cents. And so I want to show you at plan 20,000, that would be a payout of 16 grand. Give me a moment. That would be a payout of 16 grand. Let's say that you got to the point where you got a $16,000 payout. Fabulous. With Flair, let's call it 2 cents. It's like a penny and a half right now. Well, that would be 800,000 Flair. What's the goal? What's the target? 5 million to 10 million. And you might obviously convert some of that to usable, spendable cash. But look at the difference here. If we hurried up and we got through the plan and we were very aggressive in doing so, versus if Flair was going for $4, not 40,000, but $4. You get the same $16,000 payout in US dollars, all right, but everything's paid in Flair, and then you would convert it. We'll make sure you know how to do that. But if Flair was going for $4, you'd only get 4,000 Flair. So on one hand, by our being at a point where Flair is not fully built out yet, all right. So the price right now, it does not reflect what the price will likely ultimately go to. We now have an opportunity to accumulate a lot more Flair, much like my buddy did when Bitcoin came down to 166 bucks. He's getting paid in Bitcoin. He's accumulating. Then when Bitcoin went back up to 500, 1,000, 8,000, 10,000, 17,000, and exploded. Okay. All right. So here's what I want you to do is I want you to get back to the person that referred you. For those of you that have questions, I see folks that have raised their hands. I want you to put that in your questions box. We're going to do an optional Q&A in just a few moments. I'm also going to attempt to post a link, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. I'm going to attempt to post 2 links. One is going to be a link that goes through each element of our compensation plan. I only hit on one major element tonight: no loss payouts. Okay. You definitely want to get to structure, because when you see all of that, you're going to see the leverage. Okay. And so if I'm able to post that link tonight where you can get it, you'll be able to see that video. I'm also posting the link to our Telegram room tomorrow morning. I'm going to be posting a new piece that's going to be available for all of our folks here very shortly. It's not available yet, but it'll be available shortly, so you can see the type of content you're going to be able to share in the marketplace to bring value to the marketplace, because the marketplace is going to reward you for the value you bring to it. Okay. All right. So give me just a moment. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to see